Hey friends, Andrea here. Today's video I'm going to be showing you how to make a twine wrapped, or in this case this is jute, or this is cotton yarn, just regular cotton yarn. You can buy it in smaller amounts, it's just I happen to have this cone of it, but it's just regular cotton yarn. You could use any kind of cotton rope if you have thicker rope for making macrame or something like that. And what we're going to be doing is getting a recycled empty bottle. I'm not even sure if I washed this. I'm sure I rinsed it out. I have another one here that's just like a miniature champagne bottle. And what we're going to do is using some hot glue, which I'm already heating up, and your scissors. You're going to need maybe a pair of tweezers and some extra glue sticks. You're going to wrap the twine around the bottom, just the bottom kind of third of the bottle, and it ends up being a nice kind of farmhouse look to that bottle, and it will become a nice little bud vase that you could use. You don't even have to put real flowers in it. You could put paper flowers in it. You could put feathers. You could just use it to display like other things, flags or something like that. You could use it to hold paint brushes or something like that if you have a really short one. Anyway, I'm rambling, but I wanted to show you how to do this. Before I jump into it, I do want to mention this is an upcycle video, and if you're going to be doing this with hot glue, you should have an adult, if you're a child, help you with that because it's really hot and you could burn yourself. The other thing is, I would not recommend gluing this twine onto the bottom of the container, just because if you do end up using it and setting it down on something on your mantle or something, you may end up losing some of that support or the flatness that you need to kind of keep it in place. So I'm not going to cover that. And in this case, the bottom of this one is kind of got like an indent, so that wouldn't work anyway. But anyway, so one of the things that you're going to need to do, if you do have a label on it and you don't think you can remove the label easily, like, it's just not going to peel off very easily, that's okay. You're going to cover it up. So I'm just going to peel this one off, and I'm not even going to bother to really clean it up well or anything like that. I'm just going to get it off as best I can. And then I will probably just clean it up with a little bit of rubbing alcohol, or you could use vinegar just to clean off the outside of the bottle. I'm not actually going to need this cap. I'm just leaving it on here so you can see that this is how it originally came. And I'll probably end up just breaking this piece off with a pair of pliers because I don't need that hanging around. But it won't be in my way for this project. The nice thing about this type of glass bottle is that it's got like a clear sticker on top of it, and if I worked at peeling this off, it will peel off pretty easily. It's just that it doesn't peel off super cleanly, so you may need to use a little bit of rubbing alcohol and a Q-tip to get that that kind of residue, that glue residue off. And I'm not gonna try and fuss with this while I'm on camera because it'll just take me a million years and it'll look like a struggle bus. But I am going to show you how I do both of these. On this one, I am going to go for like a farmhouse look with the jute. I don't even know where I got this. Probably the Dollar Tree, and it's just been kicking around in my house for a really long time. There's like lint and stuff in it. That's okay. And then on this one, since it's clear, I thought it might look nice with the white, and it might have like a sort of a beachy theme if I wanted to, I don't know, glue a piece of sea glass on the front of it or something, and like, make something like that go on. I don't know. So I am going to make both of them with you guys so you can see what they each look like. But I will probably have to like cut some bits out. So to get started, I am going to just quickly prep this off screen, but I'm just going to be wiping it down with a cotton ball and some rubbing alcohol. So you'll need some rubbing alcohol or white vinegar, like I said, if you have that. And we're just prepping the surface so it's easier for the glue to stick down. I'm back, and I just have this silicone baking sheet here, and my glue gun is hot. I have this little piece of cardboard here just so that I can glue off onto it and start off my glue and just kind of test it out and make sure that it's hot enough. But I can also use it if I need to just kind of get it going a little bit. So anyways, I just find that to be helpful. And I actually keep my glue gun in, I have two in like a little plastic Tupperware container. I wait for it to cool down, but then I can put this in the top and close it all up. So I've got my glass bottle prepped. I kind of cleaned it off. I will mention that when you're doing this and you want to get it done quickly, you can use Goo Gone or something like that, sticky residue remover, instead of using rubbing alcohol, because you will have to use a little bit of elbow grease to get it off with rubbing alcohol. So my bottle is completely clean. There's no markings of any kind on there. Nice green glass. I'm just going to remove this with, I think I might have some pliers around here somewhere. But I'll remove this and I'll be right back. I actually didn't even need to use pliers. I just got a very sharp pair of scissors. So I have my twine here, and see where my twine starts. Here we go. So the bottom end is pretty frayed, and to fix that, I'm just going to cut off the very end of it, and I'm going to start it off at an angle. So I'm just going to I think I'm going to cut it this way, just so that it kind of tapers into itself when I glue it down. And then I'm going to start my gluing. I'm just going to apply like a little dot of glue. I don't know what's going on with my glue gun here, but it's taking a bit. And when I'm trying to get some of the glue off, I just kind of roll it around in a circle around the part that I just glued on. And that kind of helps me get it off easily. Get it off of there easily. So I'm just going to press it down. If you're worried about getting your fingertips burnt, you can buy like little rubber fingertip protectors, but I'm not going to worry about that. But that is one of the reasons I have the tweezers. Another reason is just so I can kind of hold it in place while I'm gluing another piece down, if I wanted to put it down on my work surface here. So I'm going to go ahead and just glue down the first round, and I'm not going to be applying glue heavily. I'll show you up close. You can see, hopefully that focuses, but there's just a tiny little bit of glue there. It's not, I'm not glopping it on. I'm just getting it in there just a little bit. So I'm going to just keep going around maybe like every inch or so and glue a little bit, just a little dot. And like I said, when I'm applying it, I'm going to use that winding around technique to help me avoid getting a bunch of strings of glue. Now, if I did get some strings of glue, that's okay. I can trim them off. But ideally, if you use this technique, you won't end up with a bunch of strings of glue. So it'll be a little cleaner. And that's one of the other reasons I have this surface here, so that I can kind of wipe off any strings that are there. And that way I'm not just kind of dragging strings everywhere all over my project. So let's get this next one. I don't know why this glue gun seems to not want to work today, but of all the days, maybe it's time for me to invest in a new glue gun, because I've had this one since I was probably a little kid, and it may just be on its last legs. So when I'm applying the glue and I'm going around, if you look super closely, see if I can get it focused on it. If you look really closely, you might be able to see it at the start, but as I go around the bottle, you're not going to be able to see where I glued it eventually. And when I get to the top, I'm not going to go all the way to the top. I think I'm just going to go up to like here, maybe. But when I get to the top, it's going to kind of hide the glue by that point, and I'll be able to, with my last row, just put some of the glue, like if I was on this row here, I would put just a little bit of glue next to my last layer before squeezing the top layer down onto it. And that way you won't see any glue on the top on the glass. So that's my game plan here. So I'm just going to finish up this one round, like I said, and then maybe I'll put it on 2x speed so you can kind of see what that looks like. Alright, so we've got that one. And I'm barely squeezing my trigger here with this. I don't want to get a ton of glue on there. And I don't want it to squeeze out on the sides there either and create a bunch of strings, like I said. I'm getting a little bit of strings, but it's not too bad. Okay. Oop. I put my finger in it. If you've been hot gluing as long as I have, you've gotten yourself a few hot glue burns, and it happens, but the idea is to try and avoid them. So I think right here what I'm going to do is just put, I might have to move my tweezers, get my tweezers in here. I think what I'm going to do is just put it right on top of this little section here, but I want to kind of like hold it in place. There we go. Now ideally, when I go back around here, you aren't going to see any hot glue. I'll just keep going around and around, and you won't see any hot glue. I'm not trying to just glue, like just heavily glue, like cover this thing with glue and then wrap it, because that wouldn't make it look nice. It would end up looking really gloopy and funky, and I kind of want to mask the fact that there's glue there. So that's my game plan. I'm just going to try and stick some more glue along these edges, like every inch or so. And what I'll probably do is I can see where the last place I put glue down was, like right here. So I'll put my next glue spot right between those, so that way I don't end up having like, you know, 2 spots of glue right on top of each other. And then once I keep, you know, going around and around and around and around, I'm going to try and keep my layers squeezed close together so that the bottle is entirely wrapped. And I don't know if you've ever seen like those candles that are made with wine bottles, and they have like that wrapping around the bottom of it. It's usually raffia, I think. So there's a little bit of like lint or I don't know, like dust, junk on it. So anyway, I'm trying to go for that look. And over time, eventually with this, you know, getting fully wrapped like that, it will start to look really nice. And you can already see, if I just showed you like this, it's starting to look very kind of farmhousey or like rustic Italian. So I think that is going to look really cute. If I wanted to, I could turn it into an incense burner, like put a little clip here to hold the incense stick and have the incense stick go down into the bottom here. I could do all kinds of things with it, but I'm just going to choose to use it for a bud vase and put some spring flowers in it. And maybe I'll put it in my house. Maybe I'll give it as a gift for Mother's Day. We'll see. So I'm going to just keep gluing and wrapping around. I'll be back when I'm about halfway done. I just wanted to check in with you guys real quick and show you my progress so far. This is how much I've gotten done so far, and just let you get a close-up, see if it'll focus. But just so you can see kind of a close-up, I'm trying to get it as close as possible, you know, like keep all the little rows aligned, and it still has that kind of handmade look, and it's totally not perfect. It's got definitely got some areas where it's obvious that there's glue there, but I've done my best to try and hide the glue. And I just wanted to show you the technique that I found to work really well is to go in here at an angle. Let's see if I can show you this better. But I'm going to try and go in at an angle here with my glue gun. Just pull my trigger ever so slightly, and then I angle my glue gun and kind of pull it off. So that way most of the glue is right up against the bottle and the previous row. And then I can just kind of push my twine or my jute right into it. And that kind of hides the fact that there's glue in between these rows. So it's wrapped. And I suppose you could probably just wrap this, like glue it at the bottom, start wrapping it, maybe glue it somewhere in the middle, and then keep on wrapping. But I feel like if I did that, the jute or the twine would potentially have the twine get loose over time, maybe. And I feel like if it's glued down in intervals throughout, that it'll prevent sagging and stuff like that over time. So that's my goal. But there are a few little kind of like places where I'm getting strings, but it's kind of blending in with the way that the jute material, this twine, looks anyways. And if I see something that looks like a little too shiny, I can just come in with my really narrow scissors and just trim it off. And then if I needed to kind of fluff this twine up a little bit, I could go in with like a little like a wire brush and just kind of gently brush it to fluff up the fibers to kind of hide what's there, if there's any like errors in there. So I'm just going to do that one more time on camera for you guys again. And I'm holding my working twine away from the area so I have room to kind of like see what I'm doing. I'm going to see if I can try to do this pretty close up for you guys. So I'm going to go up right into that corner there and just barely press the trigger and get a little bit of glue. It's not even that much. And I'm pushing against the twine to pull it off and hopefully release it without a lot of extra string. And then I'm just kind of pushing it down. And I'm not pushing it down like just pushing it in, because that might squish the glue and kind of like make it squish up between the layers. But what I'm trying to do is like kind of both place it on top of that glue and press it in so that it stays close to the previous layer. So we'll do that one more time, and then I'll just keep going around on off camera here. and just a little bit of glue. I don't know if you can see that, but just a little bit. And then I kind of push it in. And I'm not pushing heavily because I still want it to, you know, remain a straight line kind of all the way around. So it is staying pretty even and keeping its place, and it's not going to end up like with dips or sags or anything like that. And I did notice at certain points of it, the twine is a little bit thicker than in other places, so I've had to kind of make adjustments for that. When it's extra thick, I have to kind of twist it tightly, and that kind of makes it a little thinner. The twine gets a little thinner, but when it's a little on the thin side, I might need to kind of like untwist it a little bit, and then that just gives it more thickness here to press down. But I don't want to do that to any extreme, because then it creates some you know, problems with the way that it looks. It's not even. So anyways, I'll just keep going, and I think I'm gonna stop right about here, kind of like about, I don't know, a third of the way up from the bottom maybe, so that I have, you know, pretty much the neck and like a little bit of the base here uncovered, because I still want to be able to see if I have like plants in there or flowers in there. I still want to be able to see if there's like enough water in there, or if the water level gets a little too low. So that's what I'll keep going. I'm on my final wrap, and I'm completely finished. It's a little messy looking right now, but I'm completely finished except for this last little bit. And I did trim the end of the yarn. I don't know if you can see that, but it's kind of trimmed at an angle, just to kind of thin it down and make it taper into the existing wrap, so it's not very obvious where I ended it. So I'm just gonna twist it a little bit and kind of hold it out of the way with my thumb. And now I really want to make sure that this last piece doesn't show or isn't visible. So I'm just going to try and get it as close to this this bottom row here as I can, and I'm going to try and prevent it from touching the bottle even if as much as possible. So I'm just going to put the tiniest amount there. And then with my stuff kind of twisted, I'm pressing it into that, and I'm going to use my tweezers here to kind of press the fibers down into the glue right there. And hopefully that'll just be blending and be hard to see. But you could always turn that to the back side. So I'm just going to trim it off a little bit here. I've got a couple of like long threads that I don't think I need there. Just get that a little cleaned up. Here we go, that looks good. And then I've got a few little strings. The nice thing about with glass is that the strings kind of just come off pretty easily. And then if I really wanted to, I could get my rubbing alcohol, and I have this paper towel here, and I can go ahead and just put a little bit of rubbing alcohol on the bottle to clean off any of those little strings. So, oh, it's kind of coming untwisted here, so I might need to come back over here and like put a little more glue. I might end up using some kind of a fabric glue on there, or like something like this, a craft bond. But what I don't want to have happen is for it to dry shiny. I want it to dry really clear. So I'm going to see if I can kind of just squeeze this up a little bit and like just put the tiniest little dab of glue in there. I don't want it to be really obvious that it's there. So that was okay. It's a little kind of rough there, but I can put that, like I said, I can put that to the back side. I'm just going to wipe down my little vase here. So that's it. I think it looks nice and it's cute. And then when I have some flowers in it, it'll look really pretty. And you can still see inside of it. It's not totally wrapped. You could wrap it all the way to the top if you wanted to, but I like the color of the glass. So I did want to kind of still show that off. And I also just wanted to use up this twine, this jute, and I wanted to do an upcycled craft. This video is already at 25 minutes, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to get around to doing this other glass bottle. Maybe I'll just do that in a separate video, and I'll show how to do that with the cotton yarn. But one thing I was going to mention is when I do this with the cotton yarn, my plan was to go ahead and kind of braid several strands of this together, so that way when I apply it, I'm going to twist it and apply it as a thicker thread, because if I just tried to wind it around and it's this thin, that is so thin that it's just going to be, you know, the glue will be obvious, it'll get really smashed looking, and it'll look really funky. So that is my game plan, is to use a thicker piece of yarn there. So I don't have anything to put in this vase at the moment except for like paint brushes here, so I'll just put like the paintbrush. Oh, that one's too long. It's too short even, but I'll have to see if I have some flowers in the garden maybe, or growing around here in the neighborhood, and I'll try to put some photos up on my Instagram if you guys want to see that. But anyway, I'm really happy with how this turned out. One thing that I think would make it look even cuter if you wanted to do is I could take just a little piece of ribbon. It doesn't even matter what color, but maybe something like a pastel green like that, and wrap it around. I usually have little pieces of ribbon floating around here on my desk, but I recently cleaned things up and tried to make things a little bit more presentable, so I'm missing all of my doodads and pieces of junk that are normally on my table. But my thought process is just putting a little bit of a wrapper around it, and that way it just has like another visual element here. You could also maybe use a piece of burlap and glue that around this. If you didn't have the twine, a piece of burlap would look nice around here too. If you don't have burlap, you could use any kind of fabric, like a rustic type of fabric, like linen maybe, or wool, and you could do like a little narrow strip of it right here, and then maybe just like make a little knot. That would look really cute. So that's one thing. Also, if you had like a little fabric heart or something, like a felt heart, you could put that here. That would look nice if it was something that you're going to give to somebody for Mother's Day. And then if I was going to give this as a gift to someone, I would buy like some Gerber daisies maybe, or another flower that's kind of going to last a long time, because Gerber daisies tend to last quite a while. Lilies also, but they're kind of big, so I wouldn't put them in something like this unless you are using a bigger bottle. This one is really kind of short. It's maybe like 10 inches. So anyway, I thought that it would be fun to share this with you as a little upcycle craft, and I hope you enjoyed watching this. If you guys have any questions or comments, leave them down below, and thanks so much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe if you want to see more of this content, and it lets me know that you like my videos, and it helps you see more of the videos that I make in the future. Thanks so much. Bye.